Hey everyone, welcome to another one of my videos of tips and tricks for flame workers. Today's video is about sleeving. This is another technique that almost everyone does daily, but differently. I'm going to show you my way. You can try my way, or the other guy's way, or invent your own way, and then do it the way that works best for you. Sleeving means to collapse a tube of glass around an existing bubble. There are many applications for this technique. It is used to create a layer of clear glass on the outside of a color, particularly colors that are sensitive to the flame, like cadmium colors. It is used to encase a surface decoration that otherwise might be altered by working in the flame, like in grawl. It is used to solidify tubing by stuffing a rod inside a tube and collapsing it down. In all cases, the task is to collapse the sleeve over the core without trapping air. There are thin sleeves and thick sleeves. Generally, I prefer thin sleeves since they don't dilute the color or distort the pattern underneath. But thick sleeves can be used as well. If you want to dilute an intense color, or if you want to stretch your color as far as possible, thick sleeves can be very useful. For most types of sleeving, some sort of suction is required. Some people like to use a shop vac, and others like to use a vacuum pump like this one. For me, I have discovered that the suction required is not that great, so mouth suction works just fine. Mouth suction also has the additional benefit that you can vary the pressure or stop and start at will. Don't worry, you won't draw any hot air into your mouth. The air inside a sleeve only moves a fraction of an inch as the pressure changes. Marvering while sleeving is also important, but not as important as suction. I have found that marvering should be used mainly for keeping the glass centered. It's not needed to collapse the outer tube, at least not the way I do it. By far, the most important factor is the application of heat, and I will show you why during the demo. For my first demo, I will be sleeving a bubble of cadmium red, North Star Cherry. When making the core bubble, you have to size it to fit your sleeve. The outer diameter of the core should be as close as possible to the inner diameter of the sleeve, while still being able to slide the blank into the sleeve effortlessly. I use a caliper to measure the diameter so that I can get it just exactly the size that I want. There is another tool available on the market made by Trivium Tools. It is a bench sleeve press. It's a little on the pricey side, but it's a terrific labor saver. There's a link in the description if you're interested in getting this tool. Some people prefer to attach their blank to two short sections of clear glass, so the blank is the same diameter all the way across. This is done to make sure that none of the color is wasted. However, this takes extra time to set up, and it does waste a significant amount of clear glass. My method loses only a very small amount of colored glass at each end, is much faster, and wastes almost no clear at all. I will be doing this first sleeve on the lathe, but will do the next one at the bench. Either way, the method is the same. The interior blank is inserted into the preheated sleeve until the rear shoulder of the blank is just inside the lip of the sleeve. Then a stop has to be created to prevent the core from sliding toward the suction. Some people just jab dents in the sleeve too, but I prefer a slight constriction because it's easier to clean up and prepare for the next sleeve. I begin by sealing the sleeve to the shoulder of the blank. I use a paddle to push the sleeve in until it contacts the shoulder, and then I apply pressure to the paddle toward the shoulder to roll the sleeve down as far toward the handle as I can. Sometimes this leaves a cone-shaped cap that is easily removed later. Once a good seal is made, and I have covered as much of the shoulder as I can, I aim my heat where the glass is sealed. Do not aim it at the still unsealed part of the glass. This will cause it to collapse ahead of the seal and trap air. The key here is to keep the flame pointed at the area of most recent contact and allow the bounce of the flame or the splash to heat the next part of the seal. I suck gently and the sleeve collapses down onto the blank, and then I move up to where it was just sealed and repeat the process. When I reach the end of the blank and the beginning of the other shoulder, I stop using suction. Instead, I use the paddle to push the seal down over the shoulder until I am past the widest part of the blank. I like to say I paddle it around the corner. This is to avoid trapping air on the end and to use as much of the blank as possible without wasting any glass. Once the sleeving is complete, I burn off the handle and remove the new layered blank from the lathe. At the bench, I clean up the end and attach a new handle. Then I knock off the cap and clean up the other end. My next sleeve will be done at the bench. For this demo, I will be sleeving a laser-etched blank. Don't worry, laser etching will be covered in a future video. The setup here is a little different because I'll be holding the core and sleeve in my hands. Instead of a long sleeve tube with a constriction, I have handled up a short section of sleeve just the right length to accommodate the blank. The method is essentially the same. The main difference is that I have to hold the setup with both hands, meaning that any marvering that may be necessary will be done on my torch marver. Here, I use the torch marver to seal the shoulders first. Then I heat the sleeve the same way as I did on the lathe and suck the sleeve down onto the core as I go, being careful not to heat ahead of the seal. Once I reach the end, I again use the torch marver to paddle the sleeve over the shoulder. Then I clean up the end, attach a new handle, and clean up the other end. I finish by puffing the finished layered bubble out to a consistent, workable shape. final demo for today will be solidifying a tube. Here I have a piece of striped tubing that I want to make solid, so I'll be collapsing the striped tube over a rod of clear glass. I choose a rod that will slide easily into the striped sleeve. Clearance does not matter as much here as it does with sleeving tubing, since the result will be a solid rod. Just pick a rod that will go all the way to the end. The main difference here is that the striped tube is fairly thick, so I have to go a bit more slowly. Stronger suction is also required, so this is a good application for a shop vac or a vacuum pump. You can do it by mouth like I do, but it can get tiring. I have to go more slowly and wait until the heat penetrates the much thicker sleeve before sucking, and I have to suck harder to get the thicker tube to collapse. The rest of the procedure is the same as before. So there you have it. 3 demos on the way I sleeve my glass. I hope it helps you make better sleeves faster. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.